This is for the leaders who want to be actively designing the future for their people, for the things that they care about. This video specifically is going to unpack 4 leadership nuggets that can help us think about how to be better leaders within the modern organization in the context of generative AI and how that is going to impact the work of people. This video is part of my 1% leadership series where I unpack leadership nuggets that can help elevate us to be better leaders in this uncertain, shifting context. That could be the top 1% of business leader, project leader, people leader, leader in our mindset. There is a metric ton of leadership content out there, good content with amazing research behind it. What this video is going to do is help make it practical, pull us into being the top 1% of leaders, people who are thinking in a different way, thinking critically, self-aware, and engaging with the needs of the people around them. So this video is going to focus on how we can support the people around us through this shift as a result of generative AI within the workplace. Before we hop into it, I'm insanely aware that leadership does not have the hygiene standard necessary in most organizations. And those base hygiene factors can be leapfrogged in the context of this shift with generative AI, because it's going to really highlight the things that we have to focus when we're thinking about leadership within the organization. The things that we've taken for granted around leadership, or we just assume are working or are good enough, will need to be critically examined, because good enough within this phase might not be good enough actually as we introduce this new type of technology. At the same time, the things that are usually proxies for the organization or for leadership will also need to be examined and unpacked, because they might not work in the context of this shift. The clearest thing to me is that leaders are going to have to think about job design. Of course, if generative AI is going to take on more of the singular, the focus work, the thing that can be automated, then there's going to be a huge swathe of people within the population whose roles are not going to be relevant anymore. And if a leader really cares about their people and has the foresight to bake in changes necessary before that sort of shift takes place, a leader is going to have to think about the makeup of the team, the roles within that team, and what work actually needs to get done. Whereas the traditional organization skips over this part, and it's kind of assumed the assumption that you start junior and then increase in the hierarchy according to a certain number of years of work experience and experience within a role. And then your job becomes more multifaceted and varied and complex as you increase in your career, is not going to hold true anymore. You're going to have very smart, intelligent people who are young, who are able to do incredibly complex things, because generative AI is doing the more basic things. And as you weave that into an automated system, people and what work they can uniquely do is going to be very, very important to recognize and to ensure that roles are reflective of that. A point of note, it's also one of the things that Gen Z and Gen Alpha really resist, because their lives are not singular. They haven't been raised to focus on one thing, engage with that for 2 or 3 years, a stock standard approach. That generation rallies against this type of thinking, which is one reason they're so resistant to coming into the workplace. Not to go onto a tangent rant, that's something I can unpack. And if you're interested in that, put that in the comment down below. So while leaders generally haven't had to think about job design, it's been more of an HR exercise. If they want the people that they care about to remain relevant within the organization, they're going to have to bake this into what they do as a leader. And this is where you ask, but how? Leadership nugget number 2, you're going to have to critically examine the work that gets done and what work AI can do versus what work a person can do, a unique human being. In the future, I see organizations having whole teams of automation consultants, or hiring a lot of automation consultant firms, people who can come in, observe, shadow the team, see what work is repetitive that can be solved with different tools out there on the marketplace, as well as do the hard work of integrating those tools into the workflow of the organization. An outsider's perspective is usually useful because they aren't bogged down by the way things have always been done here, and they have probably an expanded knowledge of what is on the marketplace, or they should at least if they're a good consultant in this space. And this outside perspective eliminates types of bias and the emotion that we have connected to the work that we are doing. For a lot of people, the work that we've always done is very much part of us and how we find meaning and belonging within a space. And that is going to be another element of what leaders will have to engage with. They're going to have to be very emotionally intelligent and help guide people through letting go of things that are no longer important or valued from a person and shift them into the new space of what is important and valued from people. As work shifts, what we value in people and their contribution to an organization, to a job role, is going to have to be a lot more explicit. And how we measure that and then reinforce that is also going to have to be super clear. Right now, there are a lot of proxies within the workplace, such as presenteeism, making it seem like you're really engaged simply by being in the space that other people within your team or your leader is in. Most people don't know what good looks like within a corporate setting. This will only become more and more apparent as large chunks of a role taken by generative AI and people start to feel that loss. That thing that they were previously recognized for or valued for will no longer be relevant for them to do. And what happens to them then? Organizations and leaders will need to understand what they want from people as they change job roles to become intentionally more complex and multifaceted and probably more connection-based, engaging with more people. And at the same time, leaders and HR are going to have to form a very strong approach to reinforcing the behaviors that they want. This will likely come in forms of recognition, validation, career progression, and access to perks and benefits. The last leadership nugget that I want to share with you that is critical for leaders to think about in this new age of generative AI is building teams for dynamics, not skill sets. If and when different types of people can do the same work, have the same skill sets, and have the ability to learn anything that they want with the right space and time, work quality will be replaced by relationship quality. So leaders will need to double down on their focus of bringing the right people into a team to do the specific type of work that they see as important. And there's so much that might change in this space. The traditional hiring process where you have an individual interview, you kind of look over their CV, maybe one or two team members jump in on the call and understand the person, that might not be adequate anymore for bringing the right person into a team. So an organization and a leader might have to invest a lot more resources into the initial hiring of a person to understand if they're the right fit in terms of dynamics for all the other team members, in terms of what this person is uniquely suited to do, beyond what, technology can be automated to take over. The cost of hiring the wrong team member is already quite high. It will be even higher within this space, as AI will only enhance the divide between the right and the wrong person. So an individual's character, their mindset, the behavior and the actions that they take within the team space, the organizational space, how they positively impact the culture of an organization should be in focus for a leader when they're bringing new people into their teams, now and for the future. So wrapping up here, we've covered how a job is designed, what we value in people, how team dynamics will show up, and of course, how you can actually begin to identify the different types of work that you can start to phase out of your team. As a leader, whether you're a project leader, a people leader, leader in your mindset, you can begin to take actions in this direction to future-proof your team and your organization from technology that might take over some of the more singular work. If you don't start thinking about this now, I guarantee that there are people that you care about, either within your team or within your organization, that work might not be relevant in the future, which isn't really a problem for the organization. They'll just cut them. It is a problem for us as individuals who want to lead full lives. So think about that. If you are enjoying my content, it would be great if you could give me a thumbs up. That helps me know what more content I should produce in this direction. And of course, if you like me, then it would really help me if you subscribe. That keeps me going, it keeps me motivated, and it knows that I'm on the right track with everything that I do here.